Hey guys, welcome back to another week of Spiffed Up. Hello, my name is Spiff, and if you're new to my channel, what's up? Welcome to the family. Make sure to hit the subscribe button down below for future videos because you know you want to see a little bit more of me. Aha! Today, or really this week, is my official last week working with Sephora inside JCPenney. If you guys didn't know, I was a product consultant with Sephora inside JCPenney for a year and a half. I transferred from the Corpus Christi location to a location here in Pittsburgh, and I was at the Corpus Christi location for almost an entire year, and then I transferred over to the Pittsburgh location for about 6 months on and off because I wasn't working as much due to me returning back to school. But I really just wanted to take some time from it just because I was really stressing out about being, you know, obligated to work for this company while I was still maintaining other responsibilities. So today we're just going to be doing a full face using all Sephora products. You can either find these at Sephora's at JCPenney or a freestanding Sephora store. So if you're not already subscribed, make sure to do that before you continue with this video. And without further ado, let's go and get started on today's tutorial. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and prime my face. I'm going to go ahead and use the Boscia Sake water. So you may be wondering what this product is. So it's a treatment water to hydrate and brighten the face. I've noticed that this really helps me during the winter time, and mama, it's winter time. So I'm going to just be patting this into my face and just letting that sake water just really absorb into my skin. I'm going to go in with my tried and true Smashbox Photo Finish Primerizer, which is a primer and a moisturizer. My little 2-in-1. And I'm just moisturizing that all over the face. I just really want to get an even layer all across. I'm going to go to take the Laneige Lip Sleeping Mask. This is also sold at Sephora. I didn't know that. I recently found that out, but I was just like, oh, okay. I'm going to apply a little bit just to prime my lips. Now, I couldn't decide on foundations. I have so many, but I really wanted to kind of finish the foundation up. I've had it for so long that I'm just like, okay, I need to finish you up. So this is the Urban Decay All Nighter Foundation in shade 7.0. I've almost had this for, I'm pretty sure, almost a year. I should probably throw this away pretty soon, but it's down to its last pumps, and I'm just like, let me just finish this today. But this one has been one of my first foundations that I ever purchased from Sephora when I first started working. We had an Urban Decay event, and I was like, let me just purchase this bad boy just to help, one, support the event, and then also, two, because it's a bomb foundation. So like I said in the beginning of the video, I did work with Sephora for about a year and a half, and I learned a lot with the company. I mean, once you are in with the company, I mean, it's basically like you start to appreciate makeup so much more. And I guess you really don't realize how much cleaning you do on a daily basis. That was part of like the rude awakening of like when I started working, I was like, oh my gosh, I am cleaning more than I'm actually applying makeup on people. Being sanitary is so important because girl, it's gross whenever you're just using dirty makeup on people. For concealer, I'm going to be taking the Lancome Tint Idole Ultra Wear Concealer. This is in shade 370 Bisque Warm. Now this concealer, she's a little yellow, so we're gonna hope that she doesn't stand out compared to the foundation, because that would be bad. Just some advice if you ever want to start working with the company. I would say if you're 18 years old, it's gonna be a little difficult unless, I mean, you have good connections. I knew a lot of people that were 18 that started with the company, but of course they knew people whenever they first started, or they even started working at JCPenney's first, which that's also a really good tip. Like if you want to get into the company, I would say if you're at a JCPenney location, definitely work like in the actual store first and then work your way into Sephora. Even if you're like underage too, like I think you can start at JCPenney's at 16, and then when you turn 18, just apply at Sephora. Another thing too, everybody has this misunderstanding that you have to be really pretty to work at Sephora. Girl, do you see me? Do you see me? Definitely like inspiring fearlessness and beauty into people. I mean, it's one of our mottos basically. Inspiring fearlessness was something that I loved to drive because, you know, making somebody feel special about themselves. And honestly, everyone is beautiful in their own way. So if you're underestimating your beauty or your talent, you learn so much with the company. And so even if you feel like you're not good enough, still apply. So I don't have a contour stick. I never picked up the Clinique contour stick. I'm kind of mad that I didn't because it would have been perfect for this tutorial. You guys know that I'm obsessed with the Wet n Wild makeup contour stick. Instead, I'm just going to go ahead and move on to just setting my face. So I'm going to go in with the Kat Von D Lock It setting powder to set my entire face. And then I'm going to take the Cover FX matte setting powder to kind of just highlight the areas where pretty much I put concealer on. So I'm going to use these two makeup setting powders to just set everything together. So while I was in Texas, this was the only setting powder that I had with me. Girl, this is a $30 freaking powder, and I was taking this and I was wearing this on a daily basis because I didn't have any other setting powder and I didn't want to buy one. And now I'm like almost done with it. I'm like, oh my god, please no. I'm just gonna take my beauty blender. I find beauty blenders to set like powders like in highlighted areas so much better just because they fit perfectly right underneath the eye. So let me talk about how I pretty much got hired and kind of like my beginning story and how I prepped myself. So before, I was at home and I was just basically making a makeup resume. A bunch of people had told me to just kind of gather photos on people that I've worked on and just gather them all up, create like a little makeup portfolio, and then talk about sort of like your beauty experience, also like your customer service experience. So of course I didn't have any beauty retail experience at all. I basically worked at grocery stores and Forever 21 before I actually got hired with Sephora. And so I felt kind of like intimidated because I didn't really know how to impress them basically. You know, I'm like this 20-year-old person who is just walking into the store and is like, here you go, here's my resume. They want to make sure that you have good customer service experience. So working at a grocery store and also working in clothing retail, I kind of had that connection of like, oh, this is the way that I can kind of make that connection of like, this is why you should hire me. I'm gonna take the Cheek Parade from Benefit. I'm gonna take Hula, which is this one right here. So I kind of gathered that all up. I made it 3 pages, no longer. The first page was basically all of my customer service experience, all of my previous jobs, my education, my skills. On the header, I made sure to like add photos of me. So like on the header, I put like 6 photos, and some of them were like special effects, like Halloween photos, and others were just regular like beauty photos. So I really wanted to stand out and I really wanted to make an impression on people. And I wasn't expecting much because I had looked on the Sephora, like the actual Sephora page, which by the way, if you're trying to apply at Sephora and say JCPenney, it's going to be on the JCPenney website, and if you're trying to apply at a freestanding store, it's going to be on Sephora.com/careers or whatever it is. I had just turned 20 and I was like, you know what, let me do my birthday gift. It's a good excuse to walk in and be like, hey, like, are you guys hiring, blah blah blah. So for blush today, I'm going to be taking one of my favorite blushes, which is Songbird. This is in the Blush with Light palette, but they sell Songbird individually. I rave about this blush so much because it's perfect for those medium skin tone people that are like looking for that perfect apricot blush. Songbird from Becca. Lasts you forever. So I walked in and I immediately saw one of the product consultants and I was like, hey, I just wanted to know if you guys were hiring, and she was like, yeah, we are. And I was totally thrown off. So I handed her my resume. Alright, so for highlighter, I had to pick out a Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector. This is in shade Opal. Guys, I have basically hit pan on this, but it's still going strong. I've had this for almost 2 years. It's probably so bad for my skin, but it looks beautiful on the skin. So the next day I went back in and I was kind of like, like I won't see the same person. Well, she just happened to be there. And I was like, oh, hey, you know, like, what's up? And she was like, oh, what are you doing back here? And I was like, oh, I forgot my birthday gift. Like, it's my birthday. I had no makeup on. I had just walked in and I was like, you know, it's a good excuse to just get my birthday gift. And it just so happened that the beauty manager was free and she was like, do you want to do an interview with her? And I was like, right now I have like no makeup on at all. Like, this is so embarrassing. Do y'all see that? Becca Opal, man. One of those highlighters that you just can never get enough of. So I walk in, I meet the beauty manager, and I basically have this one-on-one interview with her, and she loves me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. So she tells me that we're gonna have a group interview. About 2 weeks later, I had a group interview. I feel like I want a little bit more warmth on my cheeks. I'm gonna take another OG contour kit. This is the Anastasia one. I'm gonna take the shade Java. Is this one right here? Oh yeah, this is what I want. I want some nice like orangey, bronzy cheeks. So the day of the group interview, I really wanted to stand out from the group. So this is another pro tip. Most likely, your interview, you're gonna be doing like a group interview. And so you wanna make sure that you're standing out from the crowd. I was extra. I walked in with a blue lip, a wing liner. I was real extra. For brows, I'm gonna be taking the Benefit Precisely My Brow Pencil. I'm gonna just quickly draw on the brows. So there were a couple of group exercises. One of them was an icebreaker that we did, and it was basically a toilet paper roll. You just kind of grouped up with somebody, and they held the toilet paper roll, and then you would pull, and then they would just tell you when to stop, I believe. You know, depending on how many squares you had to name that many qualities about yourself. And so, I don't even know what I had said or anything like that, but I just kind of made some quick, like, right off my mind, like, okay, like, I'm a good person, I'm very confident, I love to wear makeup. I think I talked about me being a college athlete. Positive qualities. You want to make sure that you're talking about positive qualities about yourself. And if you are going to be working under JCPenney, one of their main things that they really try and push is, you know, applying for a JCPenney credit card. I kind of had to quickly learn that, hey, you know what, this is my job and this is what I have to do. So, but in the moment I was sort of like, I had to kind of play the role of like, fake it till you make it, you know, sell this credit card to my partner that was in the interview with me, and basically just had to kind of like push a sell, even though we don't make commission or anything like that. She's feeling extra right now. Girl, you know how extra I want to be right now? I want to take this Nicole Goodettle glow kit with Anastasia, and I'm going to take Glow Gooda because I've always been a Glow Gooda, and that's me right there. I'm going to be a little extra. Alright, so the eyeshadow palette that we're going to be working with today is the Smashbox Cover Shot palette in Ablaze. This is honestly such a cute palette to take on the go. It's perfect for travel. I have 2 of these. It almost is very similar to the Modern Renaissance, just a more concise version of it. I posted a picture on my Instagram probably a couple weeks ago. It was during my finals week, and a lot of you guys wanted to know how I created that tutorial, so I think we're gonna do that makeup look today. We're gonna just add a little twist to it though, okay? I'm gonna take this reddish eyeshadow right here. This is called Throwback. So this is the one thing that I hated about working for JCPenney, because whenever the group interview was over, there was about 8 of us, and so she announced that about 6 of us were gonna be hired for this summertime. We were kind of like waiting to see, and it almost took forever to find out who was gonna get hired. So the group interview was probably like late, like May 20th, I would say. I did not get brought on, like my official orientation was not like happening until June 6th, I want to say. And that wasn't because of my beauty manager's fault. That was because of JCPenney's fault, because they were the ones that were in charge of the orientation. So I'm going to be taking this past the brow a little bit. I really like the way that it looked in my last tutorial on my Instagram. So I just really felt as like JCPenney as a company itself, it was just really unorganized. Okay, I don't even remember what the makeup look looked like. I should probably pull this up. So I'm next going to be taking this red shade right here. This is called Nirvana. I found out that the orientation had already happened for the other 3 employees, and so I was like, when am I gonna get brought on? So I ended up having to do my orientation late, and I just felt kind of like late to the game, and that was so. Next I want to take Dark Horse, which is this dark brown right here. I want to pick it up with the Sephora Minnie Mouse brush, which pretty much all of the little polka dots are gone. I had to kind of grasp onto that Sephora was a very fast-paced learning environment. So that was one thing that I struggled with, especially like if you're somebody who is wanting like communication or feedback or anything like that, you'll get it, but you definitely have to ask for it. I struggled in the beginning for the first couple of months, and I felt like I was like late in the game. I didn't know where anything was. I didn't know, you know, how to go about it because I was so used to being confined to a register, and Sephora was like, you get to walk around, you get to roam around, you have to explain products to people, and everybody had a different technique. So I'm gonna raise up this Dark Horse eyeshadow a little bit right here on the outer corner. I've noticed that it kind of just raises up my eye just a little bit. I'm next going to be taking this gold eyeshadow called Moccasin, which is this one right here. So after the orientation was done with JCPenney's, you know, being a Sephora employee, you have your own orientation. So that took about 3 days that I had to be in the back office watching more videos. So it wasn't even like I was immediately on the floor. So it took about a week and a half to finish my training. And then finally I was able to go onto the floor and start actually like interacting with customers and stuff. I want to take a little bit of this orange shade right here called Torch. I remember the first day that I had to match somebody to a foundation, I was opening up with one of my supervisors, and a customer came up to me and she was like, hi, like, can I get matched to a foundation? And I was like, yeah, well, and then I had to ask like my manager, like, hey, like, how do I match a foundation? Like, this customer needs to get matched to a foundation. And she kind of just straight up looked at me and was like, match her to a foundation. And I was like, honey, I don't know what to do. Alright, so I'm gonna take this Marc Jacobs highlighter. This is in Mist Me, which is this like lilac purple. It's really pretty. So some of the pros that I love about working with Sephora was that, one, it was kind of like an open field of do whatever you want with your artistry, you know, kind of be creative with it, you know, inspire fearlessness within customers, and so that's what I was all about. So again, I'm going to be a little extra, and I'm going to be taking the Urban Decay Heavy Metal Glitter Liner in Midnight Cowboy, which is this bad boy right here. I'm going to just apply that right on top of this eyeshadow look. This gives it that like nice like pizzazz. Another pro too is that you get monthly education on Sephora products, new Sephora products that are arriving. There's an educator that comes once a month, and or however many times depending on like how big your store is. She came once or twice a month for us at my big store, my first store. It was a lot of fun because we got to kind of basically play around with new products that we're going to be launching. Working with Sephora, you know, they always push skincare because skincare is very important, and so that was another pro personally for me because I got onto a skincare routine, and now I feel like I know how to take care of my skin so much better. Alright, so I'm going to do a little bit of a baby wing. I'm going to take the Kat Von D tattoo liner in Trooper, and I'm going to just give it like a nice soft wing. I gotta be really quiet on this part because, girl, it's tricky. Now, some of the cons from working with Sephora. My first con that I had was obviously, you know, working underneath JCPenney. So just the unorganization that I found from my first store. I will say my second store, I felt like there was a little bit more organization within the company itself. But the organization at my first store, I just felt like they just didn't have their shit together. I'm gonna be just blunt. I'm gonna be blunt. I just felt like I was kind of on my own and I didn't understand like how they really functioned. And also too, a lot of the management was like go and come. Like you just didn't know, like one minute you had a manager, the second it was like, oh, we don't have a store manager, or we don't have a regional manager, or we don't have, it was just like, what, like who do I talk to? Another con that I didn't like within Sephora itself was that somebody like me who is 5'6", very scrawny, Sephora has this like image of like the Sephora guy. Like none of the uniforms besides the polo, and not even the sweater fit me, but just the polo itself fit me. Not even the dress shirt fit me, the dress pants that they like give you as your first uniform that's free. So I had to buy my own pants, I had to buy my own belt, I had to buy my own shoes obviously, but pants and belts, and I had to buy like my own black long sleeve shirt because I didn't want to wear the polo like all the time. Not everybody fits into this, you know? I'm not a big guy. Oh, so I'm gonna go ahead and pop on. These are the Tarte cruelty-free lashes in Goddess. One of my favorite pairs that they sell at Sephora. Oh, another con too that I didn't really like is that our discount only worked inside Sephora and inside JCPenney store. So if I wanted to purchase something from a freestanding store, I had to only purchase it from a Sephora and JCPenney because our discount didn't count inside of a freestanding, and that was kind of frustrating. And that kind of worked vice versa. People from freestanding couldn't use it in JCPenney's, and it was just a hot mess. And so I just felt like confined to only JCPenney stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and use a new mascara from Sephora. This is the Lash Craft Big Volume Mascara. I would compare this pretty much to the Better Than Sex. The bristles are just a little bit more tight-knit. They're not as like fluffy as the Better Than Sex. Alright, so I'm going to go and do my other eye off camera, and I'll be right back. Alright, and then for liquid lipsticks, I'm going to mix two of my favorite shades, which happen to be from the same brand. So these are the Kat Von D Everlasting Liquid Lipsticks. I have Ludwig and Lolita. So we're going to put Lolita first, and then we're just going to put Ludwig in the center, and then just blend it out and make a nice little ombre. Lolita has always been one of those staple shades that everybody recommends. Alright, and then before that dries out, I'm going to go ahead and take Ludwig and right in the center. And then blend that out with my finger. And so lastly, for my last con, I just want to say that theft, you never realize how much theft happens until you work in the makeup industry. I have seen little 12-year-old girls, 15-year-old girls, 40-year-old women, and like even men too that just constantly just steal from Sephora. And I didn't realize how much it happens like on a daily basis, but girl, it happens a lot. And so you just realize like how shady people are, and whenever you start working behind the scenes and you're just like, oh my gosh, the amount of products that we find, the amount of empty boxes that are just like laid out, and you're just like, what the heck is going on? So I would say that's like one of my biggest cons working with Sephora, was like finding out that everybody basically just steals, and it's just so sad and depressing. And I'm just like, work hard for what, you know, what you want to get in life. Alright guys, and that is the end of this tutorial right here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is my full face using only Sephora products in honor of my last 2 weeks at Sephora inside JCPenney. It was a pleasure to work with the company. I definitely learned a lot. I gained a lot of new skills, and hopefully it's like one day I'll be inside of a Sephora inside JCPenney, you know, featured on one of the products or something. So as always, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I love you guys so much, and I will see you next week with an all new video. Bye!